After spending almost 2 days in Brazil's most popular city, Rio, I learned one thing. Abundant electricity doesn't mean cheap energy. It's all about finding the balance. Over the years, Brazil invested heavily in cheap hydro-renewable energy sources due to its abundant water resources. In 2021, the country experienced lower rainfalls. Its energy operators started failing in meeting Brazil's electricity demand. Although the country is still heavily dependent on renewable energy, it's now contracting other costly energy sources like gas to stabilize the grid during the lower rainy season. However, this has created other challenges. The new energy contracts come at a huge cost to the country. Carol dos Santos works as an office cleaner. She's one of many in Brazil battling to pay their energy bills.
Complicado. Hoje está complicado, porque she's saying that it's complicated, very complicated, and she got to a situation where she just don't pay anymore. She doesn't pay the bill because it was getting so expensive throughout time that she became incapable of coping with the costs.
Today, Brazil has more power than it needs, but there's a huge price tag attached. This has triggered the emergence of a strong lobby group that's pushing for cheaper and sustainable electricity in Brazil.
I think it's a really, really bad deal for our environmental and the fishermen of the bay and all the Brazilians, because just because of the cost of this contract. They are just 0.02% less money in this contract, in this deal. And we know that it's a huge amount of money, it's 3 billion.
Among the new entrants in Brazil's energy mix blamed for higher electricity tariffs is the Turkish Powership. The company operates 2 floating vessels off the coast of Sepediba Bay, powered by liquefied natural gas. The ship currently contributes about 30 megawatts of energy. It has an installed capacity of over 500 megawatts. There are growing concerns about the amount of money paid to the Turkish company to keep the power ships floating in Brazilian waters.
We're still paying for these contracts. So even having the availability of water in the reservoirs and also the renewable resources, we still have to use this electricity coming from this high-cost thermal power plants. As one example is this one for car power ship. And this impacts still impacting the bills of energy for people in general.
The Brazilian government is determined to push ahead in diversifying its energy despite the high cost and its impact on consumers. The aim is to secure the grid. Powership plans to float these power vessels in South Africa soon. In 2021, the company was awarded a 20-year contract to operate 3 separate floating vessels in South Africa. It's currently conducting the environmental impact assessment studies.
This much debate in the media, in the public domain about car power ships, the technology, we would like to show to South Africa public that there is a very similar project in other parts of the world. One of the projects that we do, which we have done in a very fast-track manner. We use FSRUs, we use power ships, and it is LNG to power. So we would like to demonstrate how we operate from a technical perspective, as well as from an economic development perspective as well.
This week, the company took a group of South African journalists to visit its floating power vessels in Brazil.
It was a very important trip for us, firstly, regardless of who actually paid for the trip to happen. It was important for the press to come out and look at other car power ship projects. Look and see in comparison to, what is happening in South Africa. We're talking in the context of the delays that we're seeing in the project. Is this something that's similar in other jurisdictions? But also more importantly, what does this all look like when it's working and it's in practice?
Brazil, powership has been criticized by some NGOs of displacing hundreds of fishermen in the Sibetiba area, where the vessels have docked since last year. The area is currently restricted from any fishing. The company maintains that this was done according to the rules of the country.
We are building our environmental team from local communities, from countries that we operate. They first been trained by our global team, which are based in headquarters. They are actually mixing our global strategies, global policies with the local countries' rules and regulations. So this is our global strategy. We have a lot of policies, a lot of procedures, from air quality management to socio-economic management.
Both Brazil and South Africa are facing the challenge of illegal electricity connections. While the problem is not increasing at a fast rate in Brazil, South Africa is seeing new cases of illegal connection almost daily due to the rapid growth of informal settlements around major towns and cities. Tshepo Mongoai, SABC News, Rio in Brazil.